What is up, guys, gals, and all you awesome minions and gamers of different shapes and sizes? It is me, Josh, aka Noir Proxy, bringing you some Bioshock 2 Remastered on the PC. I thought, why not bring you this on the PC? I mean, come on, that's going to be the best visuals, right? But then again, I then ended up noticing that the consoles are pretty much up to scratch, pretty much on par with what you'd expect with the original PC release, because this game only came out on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. You may remember that console like ages ago that played games. But the fantastic thing is that Bioshock 2 had a completely redone engine as it was anyway. Like, Bioshock 1 looked nice when it came out, but it's like character models and the textures and the environment was still really lacking. But then what they ended up doing with Bioshock 2 was like putting little extra details, redesigning all the characters, the little sisters, the big daddies, the weapons, the environments, everything just had like a nice little bit more detail to it. And so I wanted to show you Bioshock 2 because it's also one of my favorite Bioshock games. Like, I liked 1 and I liked Infinite, but 2 was like my game. I really liked 2. I really love the story of the Big Daddies because that was a character that I always kind of locked onto when I was playing through this series, is the Big Daddies. I thought the Big Daddies were really awesome. The whole thing with the little sisters and how they're kind of like programmed to think that it's their daughters, and being able to work within the mind of a Big Daddy, which you are playing as here, which is, I thought that was really awesome. I thought it was really cool. Comment section below, what did you think to Bioshock 2 though? I would love to know. This is the introduction. I'm going to talk through the entire thing because what we're going to be doing is a live stream of Bioshock 2 as well, along with Alexis doing a live stream of Bioshock 1, or just a few videos. We'll see how it goes. We're going to try and do like a multi-stream, which I think is going to be really badass. Now, this is something that I thought was really cool. And I'm just going to let you enjoy this cutscene for a moment.
Get out of here, freak!
There we are. He's perfectly safe now. This is not your daughter. Do you understand? Her name is Eleanor, and she is mine. Now, kneel, please. Remove your helmet. Now, take the pistol. Place it against your head. Fire.
And that's something that I think is really awesome when it comes to Bioshock 2, is that it's the one game out of the two, I'd say Infinite kind of did it as well, but 2 really acknowledges the equipment, the plasmids within this game world, and I thought it was really cool. Didn't you think that was really cool? I thought it was really badass. It was kind of this thing where you could use the Big Daddy drill, you could use the rivet gun, all the guns, the Gatling guns, all those kind of things, but it was this thing that the inhabitants use these like plasmids that might seem a little bit silly for them to use. Like, say, it made sense in the first game, like being able to take over the mind of a Big Daddy and stuff. But to see the actual kind of like inhabitants in, you know, the NPCs, the characters use it against you, use it actually being acknowledged as a power, I thought that was really cool, really badass. I just love it when game worlds acknowledge the actual things the player character uses. Now, you may notice that the game looks really pretty, really nice. This is the actual game now. This is not some kind of like pre-game cutscene or anything like that. I do end up turning VSync on because there was some screen tearing during that cutscene, which really annoyed me. And so now we shouldn't have no effects, nothing like that. But the game has actually been redone quite well. The PC version, as mentioned a few minutes ago, was gorgeous. I mean, even on the PlayStation 3, it was gorgeous. But now it's like, they've ended up redoing a few little things. Like, as you may notice, the drill is just really shiny, really nicely detailed. It's just got a little bit more of a sheen to it, a little bit more of a sharpness. Like it, appreciate it. There's a lot of those things that you're going to see during this. There are some odd things. there are some bad things. There are also some really good things. And this is something that I noticed in Bioshock 1 as well, because I haven't actually played Bioshock 1 Remastered yet, but I've watched Alexis play a little bit, and the game, in that one, they've actually, like, redone the weapons and everything like that. In this one, they seem to have just, like, kind of, like, sharpened, because the game was already sharp. That's the thing. I'd probably say that Bioshock 2 is like nearly on par with what Infinite was, kind of, but like now it just looks really, really good. But it was this thing where Bioshock 1 got a massive retooling. Not in the sense of, say, like Halo 2. You know how, like, Halo 2 on Xbox One got, like, completely redone engine, completely brand new assets and stuff like that, like, got brand new cutscenes. This is nothing on that level, but, like, the Bioshock 1 game got some, like, really cool retextures and, like, remodels and stuff like that. The environments are still a little bit blocky. That was something that I noticed, and this one does actually have some texture issues as well. Obviously, you can pick up the little audio cassette things and listen to things, which is fantastic. The water looks great in this as well. This is something that you obviously have to appreciate because the game is centered around a city in, well, water. You're actually under the sea. I'm not going to start singing that song. This is not The Little Mermaid, so you behave. But I'm liking it. I really, really liked it. And from what I played, this is actually I just literally played this, and I thought to myself, well, I'm going to now talk about it. So, in a sense, I played through this twice now, because we're watching me play it, which I literally played, like, 20 minutes ago. But I love it. I love the atmosphere. I love the combat system. It was this thing where it all just completely works. The drill is fantastic. Now, Bioshock 2 is more of a combat-centric game, while, say, Bioshock 1 was a bit more horror, and then Infinite kind of just went all in the combat, right? There is, like, a little bit of a horror thing going on in, say, Bioshock 2, but it's more... The thing that I really like about Bioshock 2 is that it's very story-heavy as well. Something that I really, really liked, really, really appreciate, because I'm a narrative-based gamer. I've always been a narrative-based gamer. I will play games without narrative. Like, say, Bioshock 1 had, like, a little bit of a narrative. Like, it was more a thing of, like, you were kind of experiencing it with Jack, the main character, over the course of the game. And it was only until, like, halfway through the game that you actually learned much. You know, a lot of it was kind of just, like, doing errands. And that's what you were, an errand boy throughout the entire game as the story, which was kind of funny, actually. But, like, in this one, there was actually this really strong story about the Big Daddies and the Little Sisters, and more specifically, this Big Daddy's own little sister, and how he is still kind of, like, connected to her. That bond has not been cut, and he's trying to still find her. And I really like that. I think she's called Eleanor. She's called Eleanor. Sorry, you got to do it like the 1940s, 1930s. Eleanor. You got a bit of a "nor" to it. The O-R-E. She's not some kind of mineral, but for some reason names like that. And Delta does like to use plasmids for some reason. The Big Daddies have never used plasmids, but he's going for it. Did they ever explain that? I don't think they ever explained that right. But I do love that he gets it. And it comes out of his fingertips too. Like, just check this out.
Daddy was sleeping for such a long time, and Eleanor has missed you. Find her and you'll be all better. Ah! Daddy!
That is like a little bit of horror to it. Like, it's not like a jump scare, but it did surprise you. And it's the thing too, like the narrative, the rivalry of the narrative when it comes to Delta and the big sister is really cool too. I love this idea that there's a big sister, you know? Like, there are these, like, female Big Daddies. That's just really cool. And they're actually even more badass than the Big Daddies. Because something that you notice while I'm playing through this game is that they're very flexible. They can, like, jump across buildings. They can swim. Like, Big Daddies can't swim. They're just two chunky, full of meat kind of dudes. And it was this thing where I just loved all the concepts that were put in this game. Like, you didn't really get that in Bioshock 1. You did have that kind of thing where you, like, one way I always see it is that Jack, the character you played in Bioshock 1, was more of a splicer, because all the splicers use wrenches, the guns, the plasmids, and so Jack basically becomes a splicer, and the Big Daddy, you're playing as a Big Daddy, you know, it's a Big Daddy with his own free will in a sense. But then again, you've also got these other really cool things where you're seeing the splicers, but then you're also seeing this whole thing where you're having to fight the Big Daddies, the Big Sisters, and it's just kind of like I don't know, progressive kind of like improvement. Because in the previous game, it was just fighting big daddies and splicers. And, you know, and it was just kind of variants of splicers. But in this, you get more. You get, like, more things to fight. And I like that because Bioshock 1 did have that a little bit of an issue where later on in the game, it did get a little boring. You know, because, like, you were just not really fighting much. And it was kind of disappointing. That was the one thing that was disappointing, because you became this uber badass. You could just handle everything. Look, it's a big daddy. Not our big daddy. That's not a reflection. These are actually really weird, because they look like Hunchback Notre Dame kind of big daddies. They all kind of like waddle, and they're all weirdly kind of shaped. Somebody, I think in one of like the little bits of like narratively based lore audio, or maybe in one of the little book things, I can't remember, it kind of explains that maybe they've been like mutated, and they're all kind of like these massive abomination kind of like tyrant nemesis things in swimsuits. I can't remember, but then Delta is kind of like the original, and so it's like a man. It's just a man, right? It's just like a guy. It's just a guy in a, like a really tall guy in a swimsuit. Not like Speedos. He's not just wearing Speedos and giant gloves and a massive drill. This is not Tengen Topper Garan Ladrill or swimmer, diver man. Nothing like that. I do love that there's so many different big daddies. Is this thing where like the universe, the world that they've ended up making just has these really cool designed, conceptualized characters, and one thing that I really love is design on characters, you know, especially when they put loads of variety to it. Again, like the splicers were very boring. They were just normal people that were kind of like messed up when everything like hit the fan, you know, all that shizzle, all that brown stuff that happens when it comes out of rabbits and hamsters. But it was kind of a misty lightning shot there. But it was this thing as well where like the big daddies have this really cool design about them, and Delta has this Delta feels like a protagonist, and because he's supposed to be the prototype, he's supposed to be the original big daddy, right, or something like that, but how his drill is kind of like all clumped together. Remember to use that lightning and water? That was something that I thought was really fantastic as well in this game, is that by combining elements, it can be acknowledged through that as well. So putting lightning and water, or say fire on gasoline, or say fire on ice. That was a thing as well, that you could actually freeze someone and then set them on fire, and it actually had like an effect to it, and that was really cool too. And the game looks great. Like, for a remaster, it looks fantastic. I'm just gonna say that now. The game looks really, really good as a remaster. Would love to know your opinion of it. Like, if you've ended up buying the remasters, even though you've already got them. Like, what I ended up doing was I had the PlayStation 3 version of Bioshock 1 and 2, and then I sold them. I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to get the, you know, this is the PC version. It's something I was going to mention. Like, originally I was going to get the PlayStation 4 version, but then I thought to myself, well, I've already got them on Steam as well, and if you're on Steam, you get these brand new for free. Which is cool, right? So if you already have the PC versions of Bioshock 1 and 2, you get the remasters for free. For free. It's yours. You go onto Steam now. You take it, it's yours. My light in my office just flickered, and that really creeped me out, and that makes me feel like there's somebody behind me. But there is nobody behind me. I'm completely fine. Don't you be saying anything in the comments or anything like that. But as mentioned, the whole remaster thing just looks really, really good. I like that they've actually added some kind of like sharpness and details to the character, to the guns. Like, look at the rivet gun. Like, it's got a nice little bit of a retexturing and stuff. Like, even like the interface with like the little audio books. Look at the guy on the bottom right has like a brand new retexture. Not a retexture, but kind of like a re-interfacey design thing done. And the lighting, everything just kind of like feels legit. It is Bioshock. And sure, again, it's not like on the level of Halo 2 on Xbox One. And it's not, say, like, on the level of the new Batman remasters that are coming out, which are actually kind of, like, changed for the consoles because they're not actually the PC versions. That is something to know when it comes to those Batman games, is that the Batman, like, PC version is, like, the definitive version for now, but it was actually the cutscenes. Like, if you play the console version of, you know, Batman Arkham Asylum, then the cutscenes were what the PC version looked like, but it looked completely different than the consoles. Oh, we'll let you enjoy this cutscene too. You might as well see this. I think this is a boss fight. Is this a boss fight? I think we're actually going to go fight the Big Sister now.
Big Sister doesn't want you playing with me.
I always... Just the Big Sister is so badass. Just look at it. Like, the Big Daddy was intimidating, But they ended up making something else way more intimidating. Using that water and lightning. Remember, the environment is there to use, and I love that you can weaponize the environment. Remember, you got to try and mix up all your weapons, so shocking, using the rivet gun, using your drill, having a nice little one-on-one here. It's so cool to get a boss fight, like, right at the start of the game. Don't you think that's really cool? I'm trying to have a wonder here. Now, you're going to notice something really odd happens in a second. I also pick up an audio log, but I go around this corner, and something funky. It's just funky. I shoot her in the head, and she seems to get a little bit dizzy. Oh dear. What just happened to the big sister? I'm kind of like, is she supposed to do this? Did she just like sniff crack or something? I don't know. I'm gonna get. Oh, there she goes. She's better now. Oh, that was why, because I hurt her enough for her to like go to the next area, but for some reason she got locked in the environment. But I thought that was really funny. I thought that like the fact that a bug actually happened in this game, a bug, a glitch, I'm not too sure. But I've never actually experienced one in Bioshock 2. Like Bioshock 2 to me felt like a really heavily well done, polished game, and maybe that was just kind of an accident. It was probably like a piece of furniture that was in the way, because I remember there are loads of things like on the floor and stuff like boxes, chairs, plates, cups. There's a brick, bandages. Maybe she tripped over some cigarettes. I'm not too sure. But there are things in the way, so I'm not going to judge her for her clipping around and stuff like that. I just thought it was funny. It's so good when you get those little experiences where you kind of just chuckle to yourself. And also, she's also part of that kind of like journey as well. So look, when you turn on the corner, it's so creepy. Look, ooh, there she is. There's so many little things like that. And also, it's very cinematic. Like, Bioshock 1 wasn't very cinematic, but this one is very, very cinematic, especially when it comes to the later, like, levels and stuff. Like, just hopping down here, look, check this out. There's another cutscene. I'm not going to talk. I'm going to let you enjoy it. I kind of shake my head like, oh, crap. You may have noticed there was kind of like the needle kind of scratching across the grass and stuff. They really like ended up intensifying the audio as well. So the audio has been partially kind of like remastered too, which is kind of cool. Obviously the voice acting hasn't been remastered. I mean, that would be kind of silly, kind of going back in time and getting the girl who did Eleanor and stuff like that to and Tenenbaum. It wouldn't make sense.
Even the ocean cannot harm you. This is good. But rapture is the death of many great men. Alone, you will not last long. You can still reach the train station. Find me there.
But yeah, so pretty much overall a really good remaster. Really, really pleased with trying this out because I do want to play all the way through it, so we will be doing a live stream of Bioshock 2. We'll see how far we get with Bioshock 1 when Alexis gives it a go. She might actually end up wanting to live stream it herself, we never know. And then finally we do have Infinite. Now when I do talk about Infinite during this, I do want to mention that Infinite hasn't actually been remastered. They actually ended up feeling like Infinite was good enough for what it is. And that's kind of justified, I think. I think that Infinite is still a really pretty game. Look how fantastic this looks. We're actually going to see something even more pretty in a second. We're going to see Rapture itself. Remember that there is a city in this. It's not just walking around clusters of random rooms. We get to see the introduction of Rapture once more like we saw in Bioshock 1. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to sneeze. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry about that. But we're going to see Rapture in all of its beauty, all of its glory, with that weird squid. There seems to be this squid just like floating around. Did anyone ever notice that in the first game there was a squid floating around? That squid is still here, and here we're about to come up to Rapture. Oh my goodness. But again, Infinite has not been remastered, so I am really, really apologizing for that. Really cool thing about it though is that they've actually put the Infinite game on sale right now for $4.99. So if you do actually have Bioshock 1 and 2, you know, on your Steam list, and you do want Infinite to add to that collection, have the complete thing of having to pay for, like, was it like £30 for the remastered set, then what you can do is just buy it for $4.99 in the 2K sale right now on the release of Bioshock Remastered. So right as I'm saying this, the Bioshock games are cheaper. You can actually get Infinite for $4.99, which is what, like $7? $8? Maybe? There's our big sister, just intimidating me with her freaking presence. But anyways, with me, Josh, again, I'll probably bring you some Bioshock 2 Remastered, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you all next time. Comment section below, let me know what you thought to it, though. And I hope to see you in the live stream for this game. Ciao for now.